Oh my God. What is happening here?
His grandfather was a Ghostbuster. Something was coming and he knew it.
There hasn't been a ghost sighting in 30 years.
There's a real sense of fun that permeates the whole movie. And I wanted to know, one, was it that much fun on set? And what was your most kind of memorable moment when you were filming?
Well, it was fun on set. I mean, most of the cast are kids. And, they were so excited to be there. They're kids. They're awesome. And they're great kids. And just apart from the material and that it was a Ghostbusters movie and, all of it, there was real enthusiasm. And so, that was palpable, certainly being there. I loved working with all of them. And as far as the most memorable scene or fun scene for me, the whole thing really was fun. But boy, going into that store and shooting a scene with a bunch of mini Stay Puft Marshmallow Men, Terror Dog, and was a blast.
Did you feel any sort of pressure? Because Ghostbusters is obviously such a beloved and iconic movie world. Was there a sense of like, oh, I really have to nail this. I really have to get this right?
No, I don't really dwell on that kind of stuff because it would be overwhelming if any of us did. I mean, we're always aware of, the love that a lot of people have for the original and we want to, you want to do a good job on anything you work on. I thought it really, instead of the pressure, it was more of an honor, I'd say, and a very cool thing to kind of look over to the side and see Jason Reitman sitting there conferring with his dad, Ivan, who, directed the original, and knowing what this franchise means to them, it's, and the love and care and passion that they put into it. And then, telling this story about family and, seeing and kind of seeing art and real life play out somewhat similarly. Right. It was a really special kind of vibe that you just don't get on a lot of things, because a lot of movies don't have this kind of backstory to them. Right. So it was really kind of an honor to be included, and I think I felt that more than the pressure of trying to live up to the original, which I never would ever try, or it's its own thing.
How much of Ghostbusters was really part of your understanding or kind of cultural zeitgeist? McKenna, I'll start with you. How much did you know about the film before you started, and what did it feel like to join?
I knew a ton about the film. I mean, it's always kind of been a part of my life. Finn and I talk about it a lot, and but it's just like Ghostbusters was kind of like, there's no memory of first watching it because, we were really young, and it's just kind of been something that we've watched a ton through our lives and like childhoods and stuff. I mean, Ghostbusters was always a really big part of my life. I was a Ghostbuster for Halloween in 2017. I was, I have photos of me whenever I was like 4 holding the VHS of Ghostbusters the first night that I watched it.
So what was it like joining, given all of that kind of passion that you have for the film and how important it was to you growing up? What was it like joining that world?
Like, you're just like handed this thing and it's like, so do you want to be a part of your very favorite film, your favorite franchise? Do you want to be, a Ghostbuster?
It is where it's like, it is being like, I literally felt like you're like giving the keys like to the city to like a monkey. Like literally, yeah. I was like, why would you do this? Like, why? I don't know how we pulled it off, but we did, and now we're a part of a really cool legacy and family. So we're excited to be finally talking about it, because we shot this movie 2 years ago, and have grown. Everyone has grown a lot since. and it's just nice to be able to talk about the movie.
Yeah, absolutely. My dad actually was a fan of the franchise, and he showed us the films when I was a pretty young kid, so I remember them seeing as a kid. But then also I just totally understand the cultural impact that Ghostbusters has had in general, and like kids now and when I was growing up definitely dressed up as Ghostbusters for Halloween and all of those things. So I was definitely aware of that coming in, and felt a little bit of pressure carrying on this like big legacy that means a lot to so many people. So it was definitely a challenge, but it was also like the most exciting thing of all time. So
And Logan, what about for you?
Well, I mean, I grew up watching Ghostbusters with my mom. She introduced me. And I was so terrified of it at first because the library ghost always, scared me, always. And I started growing, when I grew up, I understood the jokes more and more when I watched it every year. And, to be a part of this films that I've seen since like, 3 or 4, and I got to see the original cast, like that was huge for me.
And what was, Logan, I'll start with you this time. What was the most enjoyable, fun, kind of interesting scene that you got to work on? Because I have one in mind that when I watched you do, I was like, that must have been fun. But I want to know which one was it for you?
I got to be covered in marshmallow, which was not really marshmallow. It was like shaving cream and some like paste that they put on. Very uncomfortable makeup job, but very much worth it. It looks so good on screen, and I think that's like the most fun part of the film for me. I was like, oh, this is awesome.
That's what I had to feel like you might say that, because it looked like really silly and fun and quite enjoyable to do. Awesome. And Celeste, what about for you?
For me, I again won't spoil too much, but at the end, I got to do some of my own stunts, and that was really, really fun. It was the first time that I had been physical in that way in a project, and so it was cool to get to do some wire work.
Right.
It was really
Was
fun.
there anything that you found a bit challenging in that, or was it just like pure adrenaline and excitement?
Honestly, it really was just like pure excitement. I mean, it was very safe. They had me, there's this part where I like fly across the field, and they had me kind of fly and land like very safely on like a super big pad. So it was safe for sure. So I was just having a great time, like just flying back and forth.
Every scene, all the scenes are so action-packed. I feel like not action-packed, but like everything has to do with something that is
Something's always happening.
Something's always happening. But I mean, then again, I feel like the entire last sequence, which I can't even say what goes on because it's so crazy, spoilers. But the entire last sequence was probably my favorite. It was really emotional, but also really, really, really cool to shoot.
Yeah, I'd say the last sequence in the car in the wheat field.
Yeah.
It's my
Was
favorite.
that you actually driving that car like that, Finn? What was that like?
No, I had to drive. I was in the car, and it was what's called. So basically, like, what they did is like they have something called a pod car. So they had a stunt driver.
Okay.
It's a real wheat field that like they planted a year before, so that we could just rip through it. And the stunt driver is like incredible. Sat on on the roof basically. It almost looks like a dune buggy almost, but just the top half of it. And his steering wheel and gas pedal are somehow connected to the car.
Wow.
So really what I'm doing in the car is I'm trying to match where he's steering. It's almost like riding a Disneyland ride.
Right.
So we're just ripping. I mean, for like 2 hours, it was the best. Jason told a story yesterday, and it was the first take. And we go off, and we're going so fast, like very, very fast, like real fast. And they lose signal, like they lose the picture right when it starts. Like they're at Video Village and it loses, and everyone's like, oh no, like I wonder if it's going on. And then it gets in range and it starts flickering in and out, and you start to hear me scream, and the image comes on, and it's the shot from the trailer where I'm banging on the thing. Yeah. And everyone in the house was like, yeah! Everyone in the house was so like excited. That was like truly amazing.
And it comes through, that joy and excitement, I feel like, comes through in the film. So great job.
So thank you.
Was there anything that you filmed that didn't make it in that you were particularly proud of, or how did that kind of come about?
Oh, there's things I think I filmed some things that are not in it, but there's always things you film that are never in the finished product, and I tend to kind of forget about them once they're done.
Right.
Oftentimes it'll be much later after the fact, and I'll remember, oh my God, we had that scene that isn't in the thing, is it? And, you know, I don't think about it once it's kind of gone. Editors usually kind of pare down the.
Right. And you don't feel like, I guess it's hard because when you're in it and then when you watch it later, you're seeing it as the whole thing rather than.
Yeah, I'm tracking the story, and you know, there's nothing superfluous or unnecessary or, and so yeah, I never get upset if something didn't make
precious about it. It's hard.
No,
you can't
not at
be
all.
precious about it. This is sort of an off-piste question, but I absolutely have to ask you this. When you did Between Two Ferns with Zach Galifianakis, and he asked you about whether you were a practicing Jew, and you went, "I'm not practicing. I've perfected it." Did you know that was coming? And did you know that you were going to like
I
make
didn't
this?
know. I didn't know what I didn't even know what I was going to say when he asked the question. No, I never knew anything that was coming. The great thing about Zach is he's the funniest dude ever. But it's such a fun thing to do, because I don't know what he's gonna ask me, and I don't.
That line was just perfect.
I don't know why I even said that. I never thought of that before.
I just had to ask. As a Jew, I was like, "This is amazing." I just had to ask you that. So I'm sorry to kind of take away from the Ghostbusters thing.
No,
I did really enjoy it.
I'm quite content sitting and talking about Zach Galifianakis. That guy crushes me. He's the funniest person.